Hi, this is Jazz Obrick, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast with Eddie Van Halen in 1979. To outsiders, Eddie Van Halen seemed to be sitting on top of the world as the 1970s drew to a close. The first two Van Halen albums had gone platinum. The band had just wrapped up a massive world tour, and Eddie had been widely proclaimed one of rock's best guitarists. Behind the scenes, though, he was rapidly discovering that fame had its price. He was irritated with manufacturers who'd cloned his trademark guitar, with big-name players copying his techniques, and with journalists misrepresenting his words. A few days after Van Halen finished recording Women and Children First, Eddie called me at home just to see how I was doing. When I mentioned I was working on a Guitar Player magazine article on do-it-yourself guitars, he volunteered to give me his insights into building instruments. Naturally, I accepted. After all, Eddie was largely responsible for the trend's popularity. 2 days later, on December 29th, 1979, Eddie called again. He began by talking about the tools of his trade, his amps, pedal board, how he builds instruments, rewinds pickups, sets his intonation, tweaks his whammy bar, and so on. He also vented his frustrations at the first Van Halen clone guitars hitting the market, and with other guitarists copying his finger tapping style or snubbing him on the road. Later on in the hour-long interview, the subject turned to Women and Children First. As you'll hear, it was so soon after the recording sessions that Eddie still wasn't sure what the names of some of the songs would be on the album. Here's our complete conversation.
Doing?
Oh, feeling a bit zombied.
Oh, that's where I was last night, man. I didn't even think it was you at first. I got a buddy that calls me up and keeps pretending he's different people. Usually he says he's Ansley Dunbar.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Hey, you got a few minutes, Edward?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling.
Okay, I guess I'll start by asking you, when did you, what made you decide to build your own guitar the first time you ever did it?
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I started dicking around, actually, I ruined a lot of old guitars. I just didn't like the fact of having the standard, rock star setup, brand new Les Paul and a Marshall.
Yeah.
And what I was really into vibrato. And like when we used to play the high school dances and shit, I bought myself a 58 Strat.
Uh-huh.
But, it's only guitar and bass and drums musically. And the rest of the guys just looked at me and said, hey, that thing sounds like hell. Single coil pickups to sound real buzzy, thin. It wasn't enough sound to fill it up,
Yeah.
So the reason I started dicking around that way is what I wanted was a Gibson type of sound, but with Strat vibrato. So I took a humbucking pickup in a Strat, and it worked okay, but it didn't get good enough tone because, I don't know, Fenders are kind of cheap.
Yeah.
Wood, they're made out of alder or something. And so then I found out about Charvel, which I don't want you to mention in the article because I'm suing them right now.
What have they been out of business now for a couple of years?
No, not at all.
Charvel?
It's actually my guitar design that's keeping them in business.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought Wayne had gone to another company.
Oh yeah, Wayne sold it to a guy named Grover Jackson.
Oh.
And Wayne was a real cool dude.
Uh-huh.
When he was still running it, or when he owned it, I was considering endorsing it, And then this Grover Jackson dude took over, and he's just sold so many of them for like $1,000 a piece.
Are these Eddie Van Halen model guitars?
Yeah.
No kidding.
No kidding. And it's not like I want the money.
Yeah.
But the reason I did that, you know, I mean, it looks like a Strat, but it only has one pickup in it, one volume knob, no tone, no fancy garbage, painted, you know, the way I like them, which is, you know, I'm not saying it's wow, the new guitar, but it is a guitar that you could not at the time buy on the market.
Yeah.
So he kind of exploited my idea, and so I'm suing him.
Good idea, man. Really.
See, I feel kind of fucked doing that, you know. But all I want him to do is to stop.
Yeah, well, damn.
I don't want the money.
Right,
I don't give a damn about the money, because the main reason I did that was to have something no one else has. You know, I wanted it to be my guitar. You know, an extension of myself.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, just the other night, Christmas Eve, I went to the Whiskey. A band called the Weasels was playing, and the lead guitarist had a guitar exactly like mine. And I just don't understand how someone could walk on stage with my guitar. I mean, because it's my trademark.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, you know, when people see a straight guitar like that with, you know, one pickup, one volume, now they obviously know it's mine.
So there goes your identity, your individual guitar.
Yeah, you know. But, and also, him selling it and advertising makes the fans seem like I'm selling myself.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't know that I'm against it, you know, that I'm out for the bucks. That's not it at all. So it's kind of a drag. There's another guy, too. I've rewound my own pickups before, and a guy named Seymour Duncan, you probably know him.
Yeah, I know Seymour.
Yeah, you know, I got pissed at him, too. He called me up and said, can we use your name for a special pickup? I said, no. Next time I pick up Guitar Player magazine, there's a special Van Halen model, customized Duncan pickup.
Oh, man.
You know, so I called him up and said, what the hell's going on, you know? So he stopped finally.
What a drag.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, you're just getting exploited. Anyways, going back to making your guitar, man, you went to, I won't mention Charvel.
Yeah, just say something like, you know, there's a lot of different companies where you can buy parts.
Yeah.
DiMarzio makes, you know, parts, Mighty Mite, Charvel. The main person who I buy parts from now is the guy up in Seattle, his name is Lynn Ellsworth.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he makes, you know, boogie bodies.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, he's a nice guy.
How many guitars have you made now?
Let me see. About 7.
And how many of them are a major part of your act now?
Well, see, what I do mainly is I use one a year.
Oh, really?
Like the first year, supporting the first album, I used black and white striped one.
And what was in that one?
That was actually the original. It was not rear loaded. It had a pick guard, which I, you know, cut out myself, and it had an old Gibson PAF in it, which the thing I always do to the pickup is I pot them. You dip them in paraffin wax, which cuts out the high obnoxious feedback. It's kind of a tricky thing because if you leave it in there too long, the pickup melts.
You just heat up some paraffin at home and stick it in it?
Huh?
You just heated up some paraffin at home and stuck it in it?
Oh, yeah, just take a coffee can, you know. Same kind of wax you use to wax a surfboard. You know, you just melt it down, put the pickup in it. See, the reason the pickup feeds back is the coil windings vibrate.
Uh-huh.
And when the wax soaks in there, it keeps it from vibrating. And it still feeds back, but it's controllable. It's like you get feedback when you want it.
More predictable.
Yeah. You can get feedback when you want it. It doesn't cut out feedback totally.
Yeah.
It just gets rid of that real high squeal, you know, like a microphone feeding back.
And you used a Gibson PAF or a copy one?
Gibson.
Now, is that the guitar you had when I did the first Guitar Player story on you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not the one that had the chain in it. It's the other one.
Oh, the chain. You mean the, what do you call those things?
You had one that you cut with a buzzsaw and you put.
Yeah. That was originally a Ibanez Destroyer.
Oh, I see.
And it was one of the original ones, which are actually as good or better than the original Gibson.
Yeah,
because they're made out of carina wood, which is real rare, hard to work with wood.
Yeah.
But real tony. It's real light wood, but real tony. Like Ibanez stopped making them out of that wood probably because it's too hard to work with.
Yeah.
And they started making them out of ash, and those turkeys.
That's too bad. But then, like some of the companies now are really coming out with strong lines with about 20 different kinds of wood.
Yeah.
Anyways, and for your hardware on that first one, the Strat style one.
Yeah.
Where'd you go for that?
Well, it was actually the old '58 Strat. I took all the the vibrato tailpiece, and I guess that's about it. Yeah, I took that out. Like new Fenders, the vibrato tailpiece isn't half as good as the original old ones. So I took that out of the '58 and went to Charvel and bought a more a heavier piece of wood. And I really like wide necks. I hate skinny necks. Real wide, almost like a classical guitar.
Yeah.
They're real flat and wide. They're thin. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, they're real wide up and down.
Yeah, I know.
But thin the other way.
Yeah. So it's wide across the fingerboard, but it's a thin neck.
Right.
Yeah. Now, did you got the neck at Charvel too?
Yeah.
Was that a maple neck?
Yeah, and also, see, I don't like them sprayed.
With lacquer?
Yeah, I hate the lacquer shit. So.
Did you put oil on it?
No, nothing, just bare wood.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because I like to feel the wood, I hate to slip and slide. You start sweating and can't stretch the string. Stretch the string. Can't talk. I just woke up.
Yeah. How long did it take you to make that first one?
Not really too long, but it took me a while to build up to doing that. Like I used to have an old 335, which if I didn't ruin would be worth a lot of money right now. Because I refret them myself. I do just about everything, and by trial and error, I'm pretty good at it now. But I've ruined a lot of good stuff, learning.
What guitar did you make? Did you make a different guitar for your second album and second tour?
Yeah.
What's in that one?
It was my idea to have it rear loaded, so it wouldn't have a pick guard. And Charvel routed it for me, because at the time I couldn't afford a router, and so they claimed that they built it for me, which is actually bullshit. All they did is they did what I told them to do. And, that's the guitar on the second album cover.
Now, what on the album cover, what kind of electronics and hardware went into that one?
It has the pickup that's on the picture is not really what I use. It's like when we did the photo session for the album cover, I just finished painting it and slapping it together, and I just stuck some garbage pickup in there. I wasn't actually playing. Just so it looked like a complete guitar. But I've tried a bunch of different pickups in there. Like I took the pickup out of the first one and put it in there, and it didn't sound too good.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is I took a DiMarzio pickup, and I don't really go for those because they're real distorted. See, I don't really. I like a clean sound, but with sustain. I hate the fuzz box, real raspy sound, particularly go for that.
So it's old now.
Yeah. And so what I did is I took a DiMarzio pickup, and they have real big magnets.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they get their power, Did is I took a DiMarzio pickup and put the PAF magnet in it, and I rewound it, which took a long time.
You did it by hand, Eddie?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It took a long time to rewind that thing.
Uh-huh.
And, actually, I ruined about 3 pickups. And by the fourth time, it worked.
Did you have an idea like how many windings you wanted?
Just by sight.
And did you use fresh wire?
Yeah. And see, I've done something else too before. I put two Strat pickups together and added more windings to make a humbucking out of it.
Did that work?
It got kind of an interesting tone.
Uh-huh.
It sounded like a heavy-duty Telecaster.
Yeah, kind of sharp-edged.
Well, actually, it was kind of bassy.
Oh, really?
But it didn't have the bite, you know.
Yeah. Not as brittle.
It had kind of a unique sound, not something that I could use.
And what other pickups did you try?
That's about it. You know, I'm real. I do anything to get an old PAF.
Old Gibson PAF?
Yeah, they're the best.
I'll keep my eye to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I run across them once in a while.
Yeah, they go for, you know, $100, $200 a piece.
Uh-huh.
But that's what I use. That's what I like. I mean, a lot of people don't like them. See, but with my setup, it's matched, you know. Like, if I play my guitar through someone else's setup, it won't sound right. But if I use someone else's guitar through my setup, it won't sound right.
So what pickups did you finally end up putting in it?
A DiMarzio with the PAF magnet, rewound with copper tape around the windings.
And then dipped in paraffin?
Yeah. Well, I dip it in paraffin before I put the copper tape on. But DiMarzio plastic is real cheap.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have to really be careful. I mean, it looks like a wrinkled prune, actually. but it still works.
Yeah.
Well, it's real cheap stuff. And old PAFs, you can just throw them in there and let them, you know, soak it up. Doesn't matter how hot it gets, it doesn't melt. But the DiMarzio is good. If you blink, you know, all of a sudden your pickup's ruined.
So you dip the entire pickup in the casing?
Yeah, the whole thing. Submerged in paraffin wax.
Now, how many pickups are on that second guitar? The one we're talking about now?
Well, okay, actually, this year, second, you know, supporting the second album, I used two guitars.
Uh-huh.
One of them was the original guitar the first year, and because Charvel started, you know, copying him, I said, what the fuck, man, I better change it. So what I did is I really, you know, I went to town painting and all freaked out, and I put 3 pickups back in. But, you know, they didn't work. Only the rear one worked. But I just did it, you know, so, you know, just because they copied my original idea, I did it just to be different again, you know.
Yeah.
So every kid who bought one, like the model I had last year, would go, oh, man, let's get something different again. Well, you know, I always like to turn the corner on people when they start latching on to what I'm doing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So,
I never really imagined, you know, that people would do something like that.
Yeah.
I just kind of fell into this whole business. And, you know, I'm just a punk kid trying to get a sound out of a guitar that I couldn't off the rack, so I built one myself, and now everyone else wants one.
So you got to keep searching. You got to keep going for the individual stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first guitar now has 3 pickups, and the second guitar has 1 or 2?
1.
1. Have you built any since then?
Okay. I bought a couple of necks from Boogie Bodies, which I refretted.
With larger frets?
Yeah, larger frets.
Like Gibson Jumbos?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Gibson. But I don't know, you know, the way people do fret jobs, I hate. I do it real simple. I just sand it down with some 400, you know, wet or dry, that dark stuff. And then I just use some steel wool. I like real rounded frets.
Yeah.
I hate them flat. You know, like the old Les Paul Customs fretless wonder or whatever they used to call them.
Yeah, sure.
I couldn't stand those because it's hard. The intonation's off. You know, I mean, the more a fret comes to a peak, the more precise the intonation is. You know, I mean, the more fret space you have, which the string rests on, the harder it is for it to be right on. You know, so what I do is I sand them and build them up to a point.
Oh, that's interesting.
Instead of being flat.
Uh-huh.
Most fret jobs, you know, they file them flat and they do them individually, which I think is kind of a stupid way to do it because they do them one by one, and how do you know they're all even? You know?
Yeah, really.
So, you know, I don't know if it's a weird way of doing it, but I just, you know, do it real simple, cheap way, but it works for me.
Did you put any of these necks on bodies?
What?
Have you put any of these necks on the bodies yet?
Oh, yeah. I just got done. Okay, another thing, there's a guy named Floyd Rose who makes
Sure.
this,
I know Floyd.
yeah. I have a vibrato setup that he, you know, makes, and I like it and I don't. You know, it has advantages and disadvantages. Like in the studio, I use a standard vibrato. You know.
A Fender?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm used to it. You know.
Is that the one off the 58?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm real used to it. You know, people go, well, how do you keep it in tune? Well, it's actually like it's a totally different technique. I mean, there are special tricks that I know, you know, to keep it in tune, but it still goes out of tune. But you have to play with it. If you bring the bar down, the G and the B string always go sharp when you let it back. So what you have to do before you hit a bar chord, you got to stretch the strings back.
Oh, real fast like, huh?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
A real quick little jerk, you know, and it'll pop back right to where it was. But, you know, it's totally different to playing a Les Paul. I mean, you know, a lot of kids, you know, they go, how to keep it in tune, you know, and they pick up a guitar and they just go crazy on that bar. Like, you know.
It takes a lot of finesse.
Yeah, it's just a totally different technique. You gotta, that vibrato thing is actually like another instrument, you know. You got to know how to use it. You can't just grab it and, you know, jerk the thing and expect it to stay in tune.
Yeah.
Even the Floyd Rose thing is a real good idea. My brother actually had the same idea years ago.
Alex?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, he had the exact same idea years ago, and he said, Ed, why don't you do this? You know, clamp it down here and there. There's no way it'll go out of tune. But, you know, I just kind of, you know, passed it off and go, yeah, right. Because, you know, I don't have a machine shop. I couldn't build it. But, you know, so Floyd, you know, pursued it, and he's got a hot item.
Yeah.
But, you know, it has disadvantages, too, because I tune a lot while I'm playing, you know. I'll hit a chord and tune it while I'm playing.
That's a disadvantage.
This thing, you can't.
Yeah.
You have to unclamp it and then tune it.
Does it stay in tune as much as people like Hanson say that it does?
Okay, it's hard to get in tune perfectly. Oh, well, I mean, any guitar. I mean, a guitar is just theoretically built wrong. You know, I mean, each string is an interval of fourths, and then the B string is off, you know. And theoretically, it's not right. Like, if you tune an open E chord, you know, in the first position, and it's perfectly in tune, and then you hit a bar chord an octave higher, it's out of tune. You know, the B string's always, you know, a motherfucker to keep in tune all the time.
Yeah, that's the truth on almost any guitar.
Yeah, so I have to retune for certain songs.
Ah, there you go. That's why you can't use the Floyd thing on stage.
You know, I do, but then I have to unclamp it and do it real quick. But like with a standard, you know, vibrato guitar, tune it while I'm playing.
How do you get the intonation on your homemade guitar set right? Just from experience, or do you have to take it to somebody?
No, I actually pretty much do it by ear.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's not that hard, you know. You just hit the what do you call it?
Harmonic?
The harmonic, you know, and then hit the note. And, you know, it's obvious if it's off.
Yeah.
I mean, you just kind of, you know, have to have an ear for it. And then I get pretty good ears, I guess.
Do you go for brass hardware?
No.
Why?
Because it's too brittle sounding.
What do you use?
Okay, see, that's the thing I was getting to also.
Okay.
Well, I like the sound I get out of the normal old Fender tremolo. Like, the only thing I don't like about the Floyd Rose thing, it's a great idea. You know, you can go crazy with the bar, but I don't know what kind of metal he uses, but it sounds real brittle, bright. You know, I mean, I have to do some heavy equalization to get a tone out of it. You know, that's why I don't use it in the studio. Because in the studio, you know, like Ted, he really doesn't do much equalization. I mean, we just go in there and play live, and if I depend on making it sound good out of the amp instead of, oh, well, fix it in the mix.
Yeah, yeah, sure. That way you get a better sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's why it also goes so quick. We just finished recording our third album, 6 days.
Just a few days ago?
About a week ago.
Uh-huh.
So we finished the music in 6 days.
No, in 6 days?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Well, we just go in there and play live. I mean, how long would
You had like 21 songs the last time you went in the studio for your second album. Did you use any of them for the third?
No.
All new ones?
Yeah. You know, it's weird. I like to be excited too, you know?
Yeah.
I think you kind of trip off the next album. It's hard rock.
Any instrumentals?
Let me see. Yeah, there's a thing on there which a real weird vibrato noise. It actually sounds like airplanes starting.
Really?
Like Dave wanted to call it Tora Tora. But I wanted to call it Act Like It Hurts.
Act Like It Hurts, that's what you called it?
No, not yet. We haven't decided. But no, it's kind of a trippy album. I like it. I mean, I think you'd have to listen to it a couple times. It's a little bit different than the past.
You should be getting ready for a live album after this one, huh?
Well, I look at it this way, you know. Our studio albums are like live albums.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's true. They got the feel. No doubt about it.
They are live. You know, I don't do any overdubs. I just solo on the basic track. And one song, I want to tell you about it because if you hear it, you might not even notice. I play an electric piano.
Which song?
It's called And the Cradle Will Rock. The name of the new album is Women and Children First.
Women and Children First? Uh-huh.
But I'm playing a Wurlitzer electric piano through my Marshall stacks, and it sounds like a guitar.
I have never heard of someone doing that.
Well, wait till you hear it. I played it for people, and I have to tell them that's a piano. You know, and they go, "What?"
That's crazy.
You know, it sounds real good. It's real simple. I mean, you know, I've been trained classical piano since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show. I mean, you know, it's nothing tasteful. I just picked the thing up, you know, and started banging on it. Wait till you hear this noise on it. It's tripped out.
Did you run the piano through any effects?
Just my pedal board, you know, my cheap piece of plywood with my MXR garbage. Yeah, that's funny too. I mean, I've met just about everybody that I grew up on, and they all laugh, you know, like Montrose and Nugent and all these people. Last year when we opened for them, you know, they'd walk up to me and they go, "What is this shit?" You know, I got my little piece of plywood with an MXR phase shifter duct taped onto it, you know, and then after the show, they start tripping. They go, "Whoa, how do you get that sound?"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I look at them, I look at Ronnie. I mean, don't write any of this.
I'm not going to.
You know, I'm just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think it's funny. I see Ronnie Montrose with this, you know, $4,000 studio rack, you know, with this digital delay and his harmonizer and everything else. And I swear to God, I can't tell he's using it, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, he laughed himself silly looking at my stuff. Then later on, he's going, "Whoa, how do you get that sound?"
Yep.
And Nugent, we opened for him for 3 shows in Maryland. And the first day, you know, he's just kind of being a little fucker, you know.
Nugent would say that to you?
Yeah, but he meant it jokingly, you know. And, you know, he laughed. He said, "What is this garbage pedal board you're using?" And by the third day, he came to our sound check and asked me if he could play through my equipment.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I just said, "Hey, Ted, you know, you can play through it if you want, but it's not going to sound the way it sounds when I play through it, because it really isn't the equipment. You know, it's in the fingers."
Yep. That's true.
Well, not to sound egoed out, but it is because I've
You
gone
use
through,
techniques they don't use.
I've gone through every amp on the market. I mean, first tour, I started out using my old 100-watt amp, which is real, breaks down every other song. And so I started using new Marshalls. I didn't like the way they sounded, but I had to. I just had to have something that would make it through the show. And then I lost them somewhere, on an airplane, never got them back.
Oh, yeah.
And I started using Music Mans. And I used Laney's. I used just about everything. And they all pretty much sounded the same, just because I play the same,
What'd you finally settle with?
Well, in the studio, I use my old Marshall, which gets a slightly different sound. And live, I use new Marshalls. But I do little tricks to them, too.
Yeah, like blowing the fan on them and stuff?
Huh?
Do you still overdrive them?
Yeah. I put this, I don't even use fuses in my amps.
Oh, yeah?
See, okay, I use a combination of two different amps. I mean, they're both Marshalls, but one of them is actually lower powered, and the other one is boosted. And I use them together. Like one of them is this giant capacitor. I don't know what they're used for, but it sucks in. It takes off like 10 volts. The only reason I do it doesn't really change the sound. Whatever I use to the max. I just turn it all the way up. And a standard, on the market amp won't last that long doing that. So I put this capacitor in there, which lowers it about, down to 100. I mean, a Marshall is underrated. They're actually like 150 watts, even though they say they're 100-watt amp. So I lower it about 10 volts, and it lasts a little longer. And still, I have to retube them, once a week.
Do you lose many of them during shows?
Yeah, but I have so many of them.
Well, what do you carry now?
I use between 12 and 15.
And how many do you have switched on?
Usually 6 at a time.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It depends the size of the place we're playing.
Yeah, that's plenty of backup.
I mean, I can actually play so loud on stage that you won't hear anything else. But, I don't really like to do that. I like to get a balanced sound.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also have a foot switch. Actually, they're all on. And I have this foot switch where if one blows out, I just kick the switch and it changes to another one.
That's a good idea.
It's like a bypass switch, When you click it on, the other amp, comes in. Well, it's simple, it's all basement stuff. I mean, everything we do, we do ourselves in the basement,
And it's funny how these people kill themselves trying to duplicate your sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Going back to your guitars,
Uh-huh.
Have you built any new ones?
Yeah, I was just getting to that. I just got I had a mahogany body made by Boogie Bodies.
Strat style?
Yeah. Well, it fits me, 'cause I'm small, and it just feels good on me. I had it made like 2.5 inches thick, which is thicker than a Les Paul.
Why? For the sound?
Yeah, because it's got a Floyd Rose tailpiece on it, and it gets such a thin sound that I thought, well, maybe if I just get a real, a chunky piece of wood, it would make up for the tinkiness of the sound,
Yeah.
But it works a little bit.
What kind of hardware did you put on it?
It has a PAF in it.
Gibson?
Yeah, and just one volume knob.
Are these like old Gibson PAFs?
Oh yeah.
And what did you use like for the did you use like shallower heads and all that?
Yeah, they're about they're about the best kind, I guess.
And then you have Floyd Rose's setup. That just about takes care of it. What kind of electronics are in it?
Well, the wire from the pickup to the pot.
Yeah.
That's it.
Not much can go wrong.
It's real simple. That's what's so funny, I mean, everything I do is simple. That's why people trip.
Yeah.
Because everyone tries to, do the cosmic trip, like the more complicated, the better, Look at this guitar, man. It's got 15 phase switches on it.
Big deal.
You know, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, I just use, you know, just raw power, you know.
How much time do you spend putting them together?
Well, I'm pretty quick at it now. God, I don't know. Spend an hour or two.
Putting the guitar together?
Yeah.
Now, what do you do how do you finish them?
Well, this one I haven't painted yet. I use Schwinn bicycle paint.
You're kidding.
It's acrylic lacquer. It's like car paint. You know, it's real. You know, it's good paint.
Do you still do the trip with taping it and
Yeah.
getting the stripes and all that?
Yeah. I love stripes.
Yeah, they look real good. Real
You know.
unusual. You building any other ones?
No, not really. I got so many guitars now, I don't know which one to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guitar I want made, but I don't know who I want to have build it. See, because I love 335s. I mean, I can haul ass on those things.
Yeah.
I mean, when I pick up 335, I play. You probably wouldn't even recognize my playing.
What happens to it?
Well, I just, there's no vibrato, and I just play totally different. You know, it's more jazzy, more fluid, fast, kind of like Holdsworth. You know, real, like that, you know. That's another reason actually why I started using a vibrato, because I started playing so fast that it lacked, you know, it was just too much, like that, you know. So what I do now is I go, you know, to break it up a little bit. You know, it's like a race car racing down the road and then crashing every now and then.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, damn good description.
You know, and I use the bar. I really don't have a special like chops down with it. You know, I mean, I just grab it when I feel like it. It's more. I like it because I can get more feeling out of it. You know.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, when I grab it, that's what I feel. You know.
Make
like
that guitar cry for you.
Yeah.
When you put together these axes, Eddie? What's the hardest part of the work for you?
Making the neck fit the body. And another problem is the Gibson pickup or any humbucking style pickup. Okay, the bridge on a Stratocaster is wider than a Gibson, so the strings don't line up with the pickup poles. You know.
Yeah. So what do you have to do?
Well, I've tried slanting the pickup because, you know, a double pole humbucking. So one of them would pick it up if the other one did.
Yeah.
You know, if you slant it, the high E would be picked up by the front pole, and the low E would be picked up by the rear pole. Whereas if it was straight, the high E and the low E would be, you know, would lose power.
Which way do you tilt it? Like towards the neck?
No. The bottom part towards the bridge.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But it's also important, to me anyway, for the sound I like, the space between the bridge and the pickup, I do almost like Les Paul.
As far as what, distance?
Yeah, the distance between, you know, the pickup placement has a lot to do with how it's going to sound. You know, it's just like if you put it up too far, you get the Grand Funk Johnny Winter tone. And if you put it too close to the bridge, you get a real trebly Strat-like sound.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I move it up a little bit from the Strat sound to get a little beefier tone.
What would be like your ideal guitar? Or, you know, what would you like to have in the future?
Well, pretty much what I have.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that pissed me off about Charvel is because I spent $150 building my own guitar.
Is that all it was?
Yeah.
Was that the first one?
No, all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Now,
well, maybe a little more because of the bicycle paint.
How about time-wise? How many hours?
Well, the painting is the most involved thing because, you know, I mean, if you want it to come out good, you have to spray it and then let it dry overnight, then wet sand it, spray it again. You know, you have to do that about 6 times if you want it. I mean, the more coat you put on and wet sand it, the more shiny, the more glossy it looks. And, it's all a matter of, sometimes I just get fed up and go, what the hell, who cares what it looks like?
Yeah.
I mean, the original guitar, which I repainted and put 3 pickups back in, I painted in about 2 hours.
Is that, like you said, it cost you $150 to make one? Is that, you just talking about the wood?
Yeah, just buying the parts.
And that doesn't include pickups, or it does?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because, I have so many parts that I just kind of take something out of something else and put it in.
But mostly you go for the vintage Gibson PAFs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you want, I'll try to find you a source for those.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
But see, another thing, if you do find them, I'll give you the money and you buy it.
You don't want them to know it's for you?
Well, if they do, they'll jack up the price.
Okay, yeah, I'll tell them it's for me, and I'll probably get a real good discount.
Yeah. There's a place called House of Guitars or something. This one we were touring with Black Sabbath. Tony Iommi goes in there, and they just rack up the price unbelievable. They figured, hey, a rock star, he's got a lot of money.
Yeah,
so,
what a drag.
So I was smart. I had my roadie go in and get a price list, and they didn't know that I knew the price list. So I walked in with it, and I go, how much you want for this? And they quoted me a price, like $1,000 above what it said on the paper.
Oh, my
And I
God.
just said, hey, wait a minute, man. It says right here. And then they said, oh. Trying to make excuses.
You're kidding.
Well, I just hate dealing with people like that. That's another reason why I build my own. I also did buy 2 old Les Pauls, just actually for an investment, because I don't play them.
Like gold tops?
No. It's a real, I bought a 59 Les Paul Standard, which is a beautiful guitar. I don't even want to tell you how much I paid for it. For the person who wants it, the price doesn't matter.
That's the truth.
Like other people will say, oh, what a fool, he got ripped off, But, I spent $10,000 on both of them. But they're beautiful guitars.
Where'd you find them at?
A guy named Norman Harris.
Oh, Norman's Guitars?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And, this stuff wasn't even in his shop.
Cherry guitars?
Yeah, it's so nice, he's afraid to let any punk kid touch it,
No kidding. What a find.
And it's a beautiful flame maple top, And right now I'm trying to figure out where to keep them.
Yeah.
Because when we played the Forum, we ended our tour at the Forum, and my mom and dad came, and when my mom came home, the house got ripped off for about 20 gold platinum albums.
You're kidding.
Which was real fucked, because playing the Forum was like a dream come true,
And then
I've seen everyone play there, and it was a hell of an event for me. And then I come home, and
everything's gone.
back doors smashed in, all the records are gone.
You ought to rent someplace where you can store things under a different name.
Yeah, I know.
And have them there, or leave them with someone you trust.
Yeah, it's such a drag. So, to tell you the truth, I'm not into the star bullshit at all.
Yeah, it gets real old fast, doesn't it, Eddie?
Yeah, well, a lot of people get off on it. They don't let their hair grow, buy a Les Paul and a Marshall and be a rock and roll star. I don't even consider myself a rock star. I enjoy playing guitar, period.
Well, you've been doing a lot of work, though, man. They're working your band a lot.
Well, no, we're working our band a lot.
Yeah.
That's what we want. The only thing that sells us is our live show. Actually, everything we do is a complete reverse of other people.
How so?
We applied, all we ever knew was our live show. We never, excuse me, we never knew much about recording, overdubbing. That's why when we did our first album, I said, hey, Ted, I've never done overdubs. And just the thought of, playing to a machine, to me, would lose feel. So I said, can I just play live? Because, go for what you know. So I did. And, Ted freaked out. He's going, whoa, it doesn't even need another guitar. Because what we did is we applied our live show, or a live performance to plastic. Whereas people like Boston and Foreigner, they do it the opposite way. They work it out in the studio, and then when they have to go on tour, they have to rehearse
And apply, yeah.
to make it happen live, and it's obvious. With us, actually, there's more mania and more feel and more excitement live because that's where it's based,
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. And also, that's bottom line, The only thing that sells is live show. It's not hype. We're not new wave. They print more garbage about Elvis Costello and
Blondie.
you name it.
Yeah.
You know. Then you rarely see us.
But musically, you got these people beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well,
I don't really look at it competitively at all. I just enjoy what I do. Period. And I really get off that people like it. Because when we did our first album, we just put on it what we liked. For it to sell that many copies freaked me out.
Yeah. How many copies did that album go for?
It's up to about 4 million now. Between 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's unheard of. That album was in the charts more than a year. Is it still in it?
It just popped back in.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When's your next one coming up?
February.
That'll be a good way to start the 80s.
Yeah, and it'll, the touring is what does it. Say with Boston, they're known for a song.
Yeah, kind of a feeling.
They're known through the radio.
Yeah.
Kids drive down the street and they hear that song, and it registers, and then they go, "Oh, Boston, yeah, I know that song. Let's go see him." With us, it's different. They come and see us half the time, not even knowing who we are, and then going, "Whoa, I got to buy the record." When we first started touring, we were third bill. We opened for Ronnie Montrose' Journey, and within 2 months, they were begging us to stay.
Do you make money on tours?
We break even because we put all our money into sound system and lighting.
And then you got to depend on the records sales.
But
yeah.
We tour to sell the record.
Are you going to be touring as much as you have been?
Sure.
You like it still?
Well, this year will probably be the last 10 months world vacation.
World vacation.
Well, because it's the type of thing where, I don't want to turn out like a fog hat.
What's that?
Well, you can always see fog hat.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
There's got to be a little bit of mystique there, You got to leave them wanting more, and like that was our whole philosophy last year's tour. Instead of doing like Wolf and Rissmiller was begging us to do another show at the Forum, we sold it out in an hour and a half, and we just said no way.
That's smart business.
Yeah. Build up to it.
Sure.
Take it step by step.
Uh-huh.
All these promoters, try and just take advantage of you. They're just thinking bucks right now. We'll lose money just to build as opposed to taking the money and running,
Is your music changing much?
Yes and no. It's hard for me to say. Listen to the new album,
Yeah.
Call me up and let me know what you think.
I will. How about your playing? Are you learning new things all the time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I actually play, if I sit down and play by myself, I play completely different than I would when I'm playing with the band sometimes.
How so?
Well, it's hard to explain, really. It's like I love Alan Holdsworth, and I could play like that, but it doesn't fit to the music that we're playing, So I don't know.
That's interesting.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I just really go for feeling,
You sure got it.
All our albums have mistakes.
Yep.
Big deal. We're human.
Yeah, or listen to Hendrix's stuff.
Yeah.
But still.
It just reeks of feeling,
That's it.
And, that to me is what music is all about. It's not, like Fleetwood Mac, you spend so much money, so much time. And my thing is, what I think is if something is too perfect, it won't phase you.
Yeah, it doesn't move
you.
you.
Go in one ear, not the other, because it's so perfect.
And it doesn't change your mood, it doesn't lift you up or bring you down, and then you...
Exactly. Like our stuff, to me, keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
It's like, it builds tension, whether you like it or not. It slaps you in the face.
It's Ice Cream Man when the electricity comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's almost like you're just waiting for us to blow it.
Yeah.
Sitting on the edge of your seat, just waiting for something to go wrong, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's what creates that feel, that tension, you know? It's like winding something up and just waiting to see when it's going to break. You know, and it's just the inner feelings coming out. It's not conscious, you know, it's just the way I am.
You sure have a legion of followers out there now, Edward.
Yeah, that's a trip.
It is. Yeah.
It's a real trip.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, too, you know, like the finger thing I do, like Eruption, Spanish Fly. I hate to say it, but, I mean, it's not hard to do, but I came up with it.
That's right.
You know?
Listen to the blues. It's not hard to do, but the guys who came up with it.
Right.
You know?
You know, like Rick Derringer opened for us last year, and he did my exact solo.
You're kidding.
You know, after shows, sitting at the bar, and I just said, hey, Rick, you know, I grew up on your ass. How can you do this?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you use the technique. Don't play my melody. You know, and he was a drunken stupid. He's going, yeah. The next night, he does my solo again, and he ends the set with You Really Got Me.
Oh, my God.
Which is exactly what we do.
Yeah.
You know? And so I hate to say it, but I just told him, hey, if you're going to continue doing that, you ain't opening for us. So, you know, I kicked him off.
Did he open for you ever again?
No.
Yeah, good. You
But
can't.
fucked, you know, because I've seen him plenty of times. And,
Yeah.
You know, I've even copied his chops way back when.
Johnny Wintertime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's still alive and well, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, here's a guy copying my stuff.
I hate to say it, but, you know, there is a turnover. You know?
It's pretty weird. Tom Schultz from Boston, too. You know, we played right before them, I forget where. And, you know, I do my solo.
Uh-huh.
All of a sudden, he does my solo. And it was real weird because it was a daytime thing. And the whole crowd was looking at me. I was standing on stage, and they were, like, looking at me like, what's this guy doing?
Yeah.
You know? And I was drunk, and I got pissed. You know, because Tom Schultz, he's a real dick, you know? I mean, he's unsociable, and I guess he thinks he's God or something, you know? I mean, he never comes around, he doesn't say hi, he doesn't do anything. He just kind of hides out, and runs on stage and plays, disappears afterwards. So I started talking to the other guitarists, and I just told him, hey, you know, tell him I think he's fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, I was real pissed, you know?
Yeah.
I just told him, hey, you know, I don't know.
Are there,
Now I'm just ragging.
who are the guys you really dig that are playing now?
Well, it's funny, you know, there's two types of guitarists. Like, Blackmore, I used to hate because I met him once at the Rainbow with John Bonham before we were ever, you know, when we were just playing clubs. And, you know, I grew up on him too, and I ran over and said hello, and they both just looked at me and said, who are you? Fuck off.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off.
That was my experience with
To
me
this
and Blackmore.
day, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know, and then just recently, Rainbow played at Long Beach Arena. I went down there. You know, this was right after I won Best Guitarist, you know, which I'm real honored, makes me feel good. And, you know.
You deserved it, man.
And I went down there in a way with a vengeance, you know. I just felt like saying, hey, motherfucker, remember me about 3 years ago when you treated me like shit?
Yeah.
but I didn't. I just said hello, and he knew me, you know, I guess, you know, just through records and radio, and he complimented me.
You know, did you hear what happened with him a few weeks ago?
No.
You know who Randy Hansen is?
Yeah.
Randy and Richie Blackmore were doing a show together at the Oakland Auditorium.
Uh-huh.
And Randy opened up for Richie, and Randy just kicked ass.
That's what happened when I saw him.
I stood there. I had tears in my eyes. I couldn't believe it. And I see everybody. And Blackmore, I ran across Blackmore standing there watching him too, and he just looked really pale, you know, and sort of like he didn't believe it. And that night after the show, Blackmore said he refused to let Randy open for him, and they had 2 more gigs. So their managers pulled a thing where Blackmore opened up for Hansen.
Yeah, well, that's what happened when I saw him.
Yeah.
You know, Richie, I guess, was so afraid that he'd blow him away. Richie played before Randy.
Uh-huh.
And then Randy came on, and they just fucked him over. You know, equipment problems, power failures.
Oh,
When I talked to Randy afterwards, man, I just didn't know how to make him feel better. Because I know Randy pretty well. You know, I just said, shit, man.
I really like that guy.
The more people hate you, the better you are.
You think so?
Fuck yeah. I mean, the more other musicians hate you, the jealous. You know, the more they hate you, the better off you are, because the better you are. I mean, no other musician's gonna hate another guitarist if you're no good.
Yeah.
You know, a threat. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't really think about that because, you know, I mean, everybody can do their own thing. Period. Because I know plenty of people. I mean, UK opened for us last year for a few shows. And, you know, I never heard of the band UK. Here we are in Reno. I'm sitting there tuning up. All of a sudden, is that Bill Bruford? Whoa. All of a sudden, I got the chills. I was freaking out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Alan Holdsworth walks in.
Oh, no.
I'm going, my God. These guys are opening for us. These guys are veterans, you know. I mean, they've been through it. And they played before us, and they bombed.
Oh, no kidding.
People hated them. But I'm standing there, like you said, with tears in my eyes.
Yeah.
Getting off, tripping.
Yeah.
You know, they're so good. But it's like they're artists. You know? They're not, I mean, I'm playing my art. I don't care if you like it or not. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is a real bad attitude. Music is for people. You know, it's not for yourself. It is. If it is for yourself, sit in your room and play it. But if you're going to play it for people, you better play something that they're going to want to hear.
Yep.
Instead of walking up there and pretending like you're so good and beyond your audience. Because, you know, that's what they were doing. They're playing all this offbeat stuff, which to an average person sounds like mistakes. Even though, you know, because I'm a musician, I get off on it and I like it and understand what they're doing. But they bombed, and I couldn't believe it, you know?
I know what you mean.
So I'm talking a lot of shit now. You're not going to write it all, are you?
No. The story's about do-it-yourself guitars, you know.
That's another thing. I hate doing interviews.
You do?
Well, because they always fuck me over.
Yeah.
They always write things. They twist and bend what I say. You know, they always like Circus or Cream Magazine. You know, I do a phoner with them, and they go, "Oh, just off the record, what do you think of New Wave?" And I'm such a stupid jerk. I'll tell them what I really think. I'll tell them, you know, they can't play for shit. They sound like garage bands, but they have that feeling. And next thing I know, I pick up the magazine and they print it.
Yeah, you know, there's not too many responsible journalists out there. In all of America, to be honest, in all the U.S., we know of maybe 4 or 5 guys outside of our own people that we trust to do anything for us.
That's why I hate doing interviews.
Yeah.
I just can't stand it. I just don't feel like I have anything to say. Because if I really say what I feel, they'll twist and bend it and make me seem like I think I'm egoed out and that I'm God, you know. I did an interview once with Circus Magazine, and they asked me, well, who are your main influences? I said, well, Clapton, you know, the usuals. And they said, oh, not Jimi Hendrix? I go, no, actually, I didn't like Jimi Hendrix at all. You know, he was too flash for me. I got off on the bluesy feeling that Clapton projected. But then I said, but even though I don't play like Clapton or sound like him at all, which doesn't sound egoed out because I don't sound like him.
Yeah.
You know? But when I read it back, they made it seem like I don't play like Clapton. I'm better than all of them.
Oh, man.
You know, that's the way it read in print.
It's like they want to project.
No, I called the guy up. I just go, hey, fuck you, man. This is the last time I'm doing an interview with you. You know, which I guess is bad to do too, but I just don't.
No, man, you know, you deserve to get kicked in the ass if you fuck up somebody. You deserve it, man, because you've done him more harm than you can undo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of...
The fuck thing is that the kids only know me through what they read.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like going door to door and going, hey, this is bullshit. Don't believe it. But the kids do. You know, because I'm really, I ain't no extrovert. You know, I'm a quiet person. That's probably why I do all these weird things on guitar, you know.
You know, that's funny. That's the same way Jimi Hendrix was, I hear.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like sometimes people will come with an idea of you, and they'll try to make you fit it by picking the right quotes and everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people who don't know me, there's a lot of people who don't know me who hate me, you know, because they think I'm some, you know, egoed out motherfucker, but I'm not at all.
Yeah. You can't win them all over, Ed.
I know, but, you know, that's just one thing that I never expected. You know, doing interviews. God. I remember once I did a radio interview in the beginning. I mean, I'm not much of a talker, really. It was live on a top 40 AM station. And, you know, they're all motor mouth. Like, Dave's real good at it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're excited when you're listening to him, but when you play the tape back, he actually didn't say anything. But it doesn't matter. You know, it's just like excitement. You know, I can't do that.
Uh-huh.
So here's Dave, motor mouth, getting the guy all jazzed up. And he turns to me and he goes, I understand you and your brother are from Amsterdam, Holland. And I go, yeah. That was it. A big long pause. You know, I just wasn't.
Huh?
I just wasn't ready for a big long story. Oh yeah, you know, we used to live there. I grew up there. We came over. You know.
I'll tell you, your best interviews are when two guys just talk about something that matters to both of them.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck
I mean, it's like I'm not an entertainer with my mouth, but everyone expects you to be. It's just like Mark Spitz, you know. He
Yeah.
wins the Olympic gold medals for swimming, and then everybody thinks he's an actor, but he's not.
Where is he now?
Exactly. You
Yeah.
know, they just exploited the hell out of him, and now he's nowhere.
How do you keep him from exploiting you?
Don't talk to him. But then again, then they really think I'm egoed out. But they don't understand. It's just, you know, I ain't got nothing to say.
Do a lot of people I bet your time, a lot of people try to demand your time, don't they?
Oh, yeah. And then
Yeah.
if I won't talk to them, they get pissed. And they hate me. But it's not that. It's just I don't have anything to say. You know, like playing the guitar, man. It's part of me. I mean, I just feel like saying, hey, everything I got to say is in notes, you know? It really is. I mean, I project more feeling out of playing than I can with my mouth. I feel like I can never explain myself right.
Yeah.
You know, no one really understands what I'm trying to say. And then they just kind of use their own imagination and, you know, figure out what I'm trying to say, which is usually wrong.
Are you happy with the way things are going now with the band and your career?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's the same as it's always been.
Uh-huh.
It's always been real we do everything ourselves. You know, we got rid of our first manager because he had a heavy ego problem because he wanted to be a big manager in control of everything. You know, we'd say, hey, don't do that. You know, we want it done our way. For better or worse, we want it our way. And he couldn't handle it. So, you know, we got rid of him and went through a big lawsuit. You know, he sued us for $300,000. And, you know, it's just fuck. It's just all stuff that I never imagined I'd get into. I just figured, hey, I can make my music and period.
And all that stuff takes you away from it.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm handling it.
Yeah, you've probably learned more in the last 2 years than you ever imagined you would.
Oh, God, you would believe it. Things you can't learn in any book or any school.
No kidding. But you guys have all weathered it well.
Yeah, doing our best, you know.
Yeah, yeah. This has been a real nice conversation, Ed.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I enjoy talking to people who, you know, understand what I'm saying. You know, I mean, I rarely talk like this to anybody that I don't really know.
Yeah, it's hard to.
You know?
But how many times do you get a chance to really talk about it, too?
Not often.
Yeah.
The only other journalist that I can think of who's a real nice guy is Steve Rosen, you know?
I've worked with Rosen a lot.
But I can just sit around and shoot the shit with him.
Yeah. He's real easy to get along with.
Yeah. But in the beginning, when I first did an interview with him, I was afraid, you know? I get real uptight, you know? I worry about the things I say. But, you know, now, I mean, I've gone to concerts with him, you know, it's more like he's a friend, too. And, you know, I can just say what I feel.
Yeah, and he'll treat you right in the press.
Definitely.
Yeah, which is something I always respected him for.
Yeah.
So how long you on vacation for?
Well, actually, it's not much of a vacation because we run everything ourselves. We design our own album cover. You know, if we have to be in the office every day to sign checks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, the whole corporation or whatever revolves around us. Nothing could be done without our approval. We have photo approval. You know, that's another thing that was a hassle and a half. People shooting our live shows and us telling them, hey, you know, we want to pick the shots and then give them back to you, and those are the ones you can send out.
Yeah.
And people like Lynn Goldsmith and a bunch of people, what's this guy's name in England? I forget. Finn Costello.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, these guys, they go, sure, yeah. They figure, you know, we never read the magazines, we never see them. All of a sudden we see pictures that are just pictures we wouldn't have wanted printed. So we call them up, go, hey, what the fuck's going on? You know, I thought you agreed to let us approve them and just send out the ones we want. And, you know, so we don't deal with them anymore.
There's a lot of people out there out to use you any way they can get ahead on.
Yeah, it was just egos, you know?
Fucked.
People got ego problems. Sometimes I look at myself and I go, fuck, I don't have an ego at all.
What the dangerous position you're in too, you know, you might be having a bad day or you might say something to somebody, just like anyone would say to somebody, but because you're you, they're going to attribute all sorts of other things to it.
Exactly.
You know, and that's tough.
Yeah.
You know? Do you find like when you know, everybody's got to get away and just sort of be by themselves and stuff. Do you have enough time to do that?
As much as I can, because I am pretty much a loner.
Yeah, yeah.
I just can't get along with people. They don't understand me. You know, if I go to a party and I don't talk, it's not because I'm unsociable and I think I'm bitch. It's just that, you know, I'm quiet. I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend a lot of time alone playing my guitar.
Yeah, I've heard that from guys that have toured with you.
Yeah, it was just more satisfying, you know, when I get something out of it, you know. It's just a feeling. I don't like to waste my time acting, you know, because I'm no good at acting.
Do what you do best. Just keep playing that old guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, I got to thank you for this.
You need anything else on guitars?
Well, the story is just about, it's trying to let people know what's available and what the options are to buying stock Fenders and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And just if you have any advice for people, you know, that are guys that want to build their own guitars.
Yeah, sure, I'd have a lot of advice, but I can't tell you over the phone. I'd have to have a guitar and show you.
Yeah. But you had to go through a lot of different, you had to try a lot of different pickups and stuff. It took you a lot of work to find.
And then again, it has to be matched. Like that certain pickup will only sound good in that guitar. Take it out, put it in another one, it won't sound right.
That makes sense. Guys, I hear you met my boss the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
So when are you going to do a cover story on me?
In 1980, I hope, and I want to do it too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want to be the one that does it.
Yeah, tell him.
Yeah, I will. But
tell him you want to do a cover story.
Yeah, I just got done. I just did one with Pat Travers. That's coming out in about a week.
Oh, how come I don't get one?
Well, you know what? I'll tell you the truth on that one. Pat was going to be a story inside, and we were going to put Kenny Burrell on the cover. And Kenny started fucking us around, telling us he wanted money.
Wanted money?
Yeah, man.
He wanted money?
Yeah.
For you doing a cover story?
Well, no, here's what happened. Like, a long time ago, we put out a record of guitar players. And we hired Burrell to produce it. And then he bailed out, like, 2 cuts into the project.
Oh, yeah?
And we had to go get a couple other producers and put the record out. Now he's telling us that we should give him $25,000. Or something like that. And because of that, he wouldn't do an interview. And he screwed himself out of having the first cover story of the 80s. And that, and like, his career is in a position now where a cover story and guitar player sure as fuck wouldn't hurt him. You know what I'm saying?
So do one on me.
I want to. In fact, if I'm going to save some of this.
Rock guitarist, you know.
Yeah.
When I see clowns on the cover who, you know.
Yeah, you don't even have to say it, man. I know.
You know, that's what I just don't understand. It seems like everyone hates my ass or something.
No. The way it is here is the way we're set up. You gotta like wait a year or two between stories before you put a guy on the cover. That's just the way it is. But there's very little question about the fact that you'll be a cover. You know, that's inevitable, and that'd probably be our best-selling issue of the year from their side. You know, for their side of it. But you know, I'll do what I can. You can be sure of that.
That would be like a dream come true for me.
Yeah, we'll get it. I'll bring it up on Monday. You know, do what we can because we got a lot of stuff on this tape. And yeah, that last story, it was only like a 45-minute interview. Yeah, and at the time I didn't even know your music that well.
Yeah, at the time I was nervous talking to you too.
Yeah, well, see, I was supposed to do Travers that day, and he pimped me out. He said he was too fucking tired. Or something. So, and then I ran across you, and it was just like a spur of the moment thing. Yeah. And I wasn't as prepared as I usually like to be, you know.
Well, now that I've talked to you, I feel real comfortable talking to you. You know, I'd love to do an interview with you.
Yeah, well, I'll mention it to Don, and we'll try to get it. At least get the interview. Yeah. In fact, when are you going to be back up in this area?
Oh, God, it's hard to say.
Yeah. So, when you go on tour again, or are you going to be in L.A. for a while?
Yeah, we'll be here probably till the end of February.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm coming down there in the early February.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe I can just do it then.
Let's do it then?
Okay, for sure.
You got my home phone number, right?
Yeah, I talked to your mom a couple of times.
Give me a buzz.
Okay.
Okay?
Hey, thanks a million, Edward.
Yeah, same to you, Jazz.
Okay. I'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Eddie did get his cover story in Guitar Player magazine. 16 days after the interview you just heard took place, we met at Niels Lozauer's photo studio in Hollywood and did about a 5-hour interview. A small portion of this conversation ran as Guitar Player's April 1980 cover story, but most of this interview has never been heard by anyone other than Eddie, Neil, and me. So look forward to an upcoming podcast later this year. Before signing off, I want to thank the Southern Folklife Collection at the University of North Carolina and my podcast producer, Nick Hunt, for his excellent work improving the sound of this interview. This is copyright 2023 by Jazz Obrecht, all rights reserved. Thank you for listening.